Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, Meet the Mexican Nearshore Mobile Experts. It's part of a series called Accelerating Your Mobile Delivery. And my name is David Sandoval. I'm a marketing manager at Itexico. And I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you for being here. And during the webinar, I'll be joined by Guillermo Ortega, which is a co-founder and COO of Itexico, to discuss the current mobile opportunities and how the right partnership strategy can actually help you and your business to be successful. Okay, before starting out, I'd like to give you a quick background about Guillermo and myself. Guillermo has been in software development services for almost 20 years. He is responsible for highly standardized quality controls based on CMMI and another software engineering best practices across all Itexico projects. Also, he has founded four successful companies, software companies in Mexico. As of myself, I've been in the software industry since a very young age. I've been involved as an entrepreneur and a user experience specialist in web and mobile projects for more than 5 years. My academic background is in information systems, and I have an MBA in marketing management by La Trobe University in Melbourne, Australia. I currently perform as a marketing manager here at Etexaco. Right, so before diving into this, I'd like to invite you all, if you use Twitter, to join the conversation about the webinar, to share some of your thoughts by including the hashtag Nearshore, as you can see on the bottom left corner, as well as following us on Twitter at Itexico. The agenda for today is that we'll be discussing several topics that influence the decision-making process when choosing the right partnership and the outsourcing strategy. We will first look at the brief history of outsourcing, and then the main reasons why the right partnership can actually improve your operations. We will also identify the reasons that make outsourcing successful. After that, we're going to see what the common issues are with offshore outsourcing, and this often can lead to a partnership to fail. We'll examine that and examine the value proposition behind Nearshore, the partnership nearshoring as a solution for successful outsourcing, and why Mexico is actually a pretty viable option to do so. And finally, we'll briefly introduce you to Itexico, to the company, and what we do, to give you a quick overview of what the company does. And we'll talk about a special offer that we have for you as a token of our appreciation for being in the webinar. So the last part will be the Q&A session. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them through the question box. The GoToWebinar has a software box on. So please use that and submit all your questions. We'll be answering all questions at the end. So please make sure to submit those. And let's go ahead and start this. So before actually diving into the differences between outsourcing strategies and traditional destinations for outsourcing, let us define what outsourcing actually is. Our broad definition of outsourcing would be that it's a strategy by which an organization contracts out major functions to specialized and efficient service providers, who then will become valued business partners as well. But then again, should you outsource? That's a really good question. Why should you as a company perform these outsourcing strategies? Well, there are many reasons why an organization may be looking to outsource part of the operations. It could include reducing costs or overhead. Maybe there are some quality improvement opportunities, or you need to focus on R&D for some strategic purposes, or many others. However, about 80% of the time, the main reasons behind software outsourcing is to access really specialized talent, to reduce operating costs, to create solutions faster, and to allow the organization to focus on the core business. Let's see a bit of a history about outsourcing, how it's been evolving during this past few decades. As you can see on the timeline here, outsourcing has been a key business in the US for companies in the US since the late part of the 20th century. In the 1950s, most companies would actually own, manage, and directly control their assets. And by the 1970s, many companies were actually handicapped by the lack of agility that this led. This actually made organizations to look for partners to do all the heavy lifting for non-essential processes, and that would become the outsourcing that we know. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, there was a clear benefit that was actually inherited by outsourcing, and especially outsourcing IT, which at the moment was considered a revolutionary thing. In the early 2000s, nearshore became a popular term and acquired relevance compared to offshore outsourcing. So we will talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but let's go ahead and discuss a really good question. What would make outsourcing successful? To do that, I would like to hand over the microphone to Guillermo Ortega, or COO, to talk about what makes outsource successful and how this actually can help you and your organization. Guillermo?
Okay, thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. I'm Guillermo Ortega. I'm head of operations here in Itexaco. I'm located in Guadalajara, in Mexico, and I would like to thank you all for attending this webinar. I would like to talk about what makes an outsourcing strategy successful. So, well, outsourcing has now become very common for the vast majority of companies in the United States. Yet, not all outsourcing partners deliver the expected results. Identifying and understanding what makes outsourcing successful is vital for growth. Let us talk a little bit more about the main things that define a successful outsourcing engagement. So let's start with these points. The first one is understanding company goals and objectives. A clear vision of where the company is heading to is key for identifying which processes can be outsourced actually, and what processes needs to remain within the organization. The second one will be a strategic vision and plan. There are just so many things that a company can focus on. Therefore, having a clear, well-established roadmap will make it easier to know where an outsourcing partner fits as a piece of the whole operation puzzle. The third one will be selecting a right vendor. Okay, picking the right partner with the proper expertise and experience in the industry is always a major thing to factor into the outsourcing decision. Things like work dynamics, corporate culture, and having similar processes and methodologies are some of the most important things to consider here. The next one is ongoing management of the relationships. Both the client and the partner must maintain a healthy relationship focused on the long-term commitment. This is really, really important. A properly structured contract. Part of working with a professional team includes having the appropriate setup prior to the start of the engagement. We have found that having a properly structured and clear contract with our clients, makes the relationship much easier and smoother for all parties involved. This might look as a formality, but believe me, I've been here for quite a long time doing this, so it can save you for a lot of easily avoidable situations and allow you and your business partner to focus on growth. The next one will be open communications. Keeping a clear communication channel is key to a successful outsourcing partnership. Everyone should always know exactly how to reach each other, and as well as define which set of tools will be used to communicate with the team. It is important also to know that language can become a barrier when stakeholders and the vendors teams speak a different language. Therefore, having effective communication skills can play a major role in the partnership success. We will talk a little bit more about this later on. Senior executive support and involvement is the next one. Okay, having a constant communication and involvement from senior management is very important in not just in this, but in every business relationship. However, it is especially important when you are doing outsourcing. Executive officers and managers must be ready to address any issue that can be blocking the continuity of a project and make sure that the customer is receiving the best possible service available, as well as act as a facilitator when necessary to resolve any issue between the team and the customer. The next one is careful attention to personnel issues. Outsourcing companies employ many full-time specialists and developers to service their clients during engagement. Many times, full teams, resources will be working for a specific client, and they are vital for client success. It's the vendor's responsibility to make sure that the team is completely aware of the needs of the client and they are trained and capable of solving any project-related issues. Okay, the next one is financial justification. A successful outsourcing relationship can significantly improve the operations, and because of this, the business relationship must be profitable for all the parties involved. The vendor must deliver a quality and cost-effective service with a defined financial justification. Okay, let's talk about now about the common issues with offshore outsourcing. This kind of outsourcing has been the de facto choice for organizations for a while, and it is basically means that a company outsources their operations to partners in faraway destinations. These destinations usually include countries like India, China, and in Eastern Europe, countries like Ukraine or Poland. It is important to understand that offshore can succeed in some areas. Most offshore destinations offer competitive rates and capable resources. However, there are also many areas where offshore fails to deliver the right outsourcing experience. Let us analyze some of these in a little bit more detail. Okay, so let's start with the issue number one, which is time zone alignment. This issue is actually very difficult to get around when working with offshore vendors. As you can see in this slide, it's very tough for any company in the US to converge to a time where teams on both locations are working really together. Traditional offshore destinations are several hours away, and this often leads to late night meetings and long waiting periods for an issue to be resolved. If the offshore team doesn't completely understand a requirement, it could be literally days before the operations can begin, which actually really misses the point of having a dedicated outsourcing team. Okay, we're on the next slide. Okay, thank you very much. So in the case of nearshore partners like Mexico and Canada, there's a minimal, if no time zone difference, so this makes the outsource team integration seamless. We'll talk a little bit more about this later on, so let's move on to the next issue, which is unplanned cost increases. Offshore destinations have a salary cost structure that for the past several decades has been steadily increasing. Salary cost increases also in offshore destinations are many points above those in places like Mexico. It will not be long before salaries are similar to nearshore destinations. In addition, the lack of real-time communication and some other factors usually result in unforeseen activities in a higher and of course in a higher total cost of engagement. The next issue is the lack of oversight. Most companies in the US use methodologies like Agile or Scrum to manage their operations on site. However, these methodologies have been very difficult to implement in offshore engagements, mainly because of the time zone constraints. This is, of course, an important and potential risk for the companies. Lacking control of your product or being unable to maintain a proper oversight of what the standard team is doing may result in product delays, reduced quality, and increased costs. The issue number 4 is a lack of qualified talent. In the US, it has become increasingly difficult to hire engineers and mobile experts to sustain the growing demand of the tech companies. The role of the outsourcing is in part aimed to fulfill such demand with qualified, talented resources. However, there's a similar lack of qualified talent in traditional outsourcing destinations. In addition, domestic growth has resulted in increasing demand for the same limited talent. The next issue, the issue number 5, is cultural differences. Lastly, doing business with partners in different countries can bring a cultural misunderstanding. Of course, there's nothing wrong working with different cultures, but there can be issues generated by differences between the such cultures. These differences can result in unclear requirements and the worst, leading to product delays and cost overruns. Some places like India do have an excellent English language skills. However, other places like China, for instance, might be deficient in English communication skills. This situation can create not only friction in the business side, but even more important, the risk of affecting the project's outcome. Okay, now as you can see in this chart, putting all these challenges into perspective and comparing them to nearshore places like Mexico, it shows that most of the challenges can be addressed by the nearshore model. In a nearshore model, factors like technical expertise, time zone differences, travel time, cultural similarities, and communication skills are not longer the issues, and allow the two partners to focus on the right stuff, creating correct, cost-effective solutions. The next slide, I mean, we'll start talking about a little bit more about nearshore. So, what is nearshore? Nearshore is a term which refers to outsourcing partnerships operations with the neighboring countries. In this case, and in the case of the U.S., I mean, its immediate nearshore alternatives will be Mexico or Canada. Let us talk about what we believe is the best alternative for nearshore outsourcing, which is Mexico. While Canada is also a viable option, the smaller talent pool, the high local demand, the high cost structure makes Canada not as attractive as Mexico is. Okay, let's put together these 7 reasons why Mexico makes a real sense. The first of them is the talent and technology. Mexico has got plenty of capable engineers that have been gaining experience in the leading technologies like JavaScript or CSS3, HTML5, cloud, big data, as well as mobile technologies like Objective-C for iOS, Java for Android, or cross-platform mobile technologies like Accelerator Titanium, Xamarin, or IBM WorkLight. They are very much aware of the things that are happening in Silicon Valley, actually. Also, Mexico's young engineering force surpasses the 130,000 graduates per year in the country, which is more than countries like Germany or even UK. Talking about this region, we have about 20 universities with some technical degrees in engineering and technical degrees in Guadalajara, the city, and in the state of Jalisco, where Guadalajara is located. So also talking about the ecosystem, we have around 600 IT companies in the state. So okay, the next one. And this is a very important piece of information. I mean, the exports for just for Jalisco, and just the last year, I mean 2012, we export $22 billion in technology in the state. Let's go to the second one. Very similar business culture. Since Mexico is a key trading partner with the U.S., the business culture is actually very similar in both countries. The language barrier between these two countries is also reducing, as the vast majority of graduates and working professionals in the technology industry in Mexico are capable to effectively communicating in English. Actually, being bilingual can help a lot working with the large Spanish population in the US. The number 3 is real-time collaboration. Nearshore brings a major advantage in this area since the teams are located in Mexico and they are in the similar time zone, no more than a couple of hours away. It is very easy to coordinate meetings, have an urgent call with a client, for instance, or even catch a plane and visit each other. That's very important. So working at each other's location is very, very easy. It maintains a healthy schedule without missing a heartbeat or impacting the project. The number 4 will be a very stable project teams. In Mexico, you can easily find a lot of well-trained, capable mobile developers, testers, designers, project managers that are continuously raising the bar on product development. Here, you can work with a well-established team and with the development methodologies that are flexible enough to adapt to your needs, but also effective enough to maintain the project's health. Give me a second here. The next point is the point number 5 is the outstanding cost benefit and ROI. Mexico has a low total cost structure that provides outstanding value to the customers in the US. The economy in Mexico has grown steadily in the recent years, and also the conversion rate between the US dollar and the peso in Mexico is very stable. The political landscape in Mexico is not only stable but very supportive with the IT industry. Such stability and predictability is very reassuring for the clients that work with nearshore partners in Mexico. The number 6 is align quality standards. Having the right people in charge of your products and projects is vital to get the expected outcome and deliver a world-class solution that is ready for the market. So the quality process becomes much simpler when working with nearshore companies, since it's much quicker to implement a quality process. Reviews and implementations occur in a real-time collaboration scheme. The number 7 is a full IP protection under NAFTA. That's actually a very important point. Protection of intellectual property is again an important concern, especially when we're talking about the technology arena. This is something that you don't need to be concerned about when nearshoring to Mexico. A partner in Mexico will implement policies that protect the client's data and intellectual property as specified under NAFTA's legal and IP framework, intellectual property framework. Okay, so this chart, as you can see, that here that Mexico provides a very viable option for U.S. customers and companies for outsourcing and partnerships. We are seeing many companies making the switch to a nearshore strategy, which aligns their vision to be much more in sync with the benefits that nearshore provides. Benefits like IP protection under NAFTA, again, low operating costs, the flexible teams, and the real-time collaboration are being really appreciated by organizations that range from startups to multi-million-dollar companies. Okay, before we finish, I would like to hand over the microphone back to David so he can tell you a little bit more about Itexaco. Before that, I would like to thank you all again for being here. So, David.
Hey, Guillermo, thanks a lot. That was a great job. Thank you for that. And thanks again, everyone, for being here. I would like to take over a little bit and take a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about Itexico, about the company itself, what we do, just a quick overview of our services and our history. So in a nutshell, we are an Austin-based company. We're based in Austin, Texas, and we have a nearshore development center, as Guillermo already told you about, that has a technology team located in Guadalajara, Mexico. That's in the Jalisco region of Mexico, on the southwest side of the country. So we also have an office in Silicon Valley, California, and we mainly focus on what we call the Extended Teams of Service, or Etest, and full lifecycle mobile solutions. Let's go ahead and give you some rundown of the history. It was founded in 2009 by American and Mexican entrepreneurs, and actually they had a lot of extensive experience in software services and technology solutions when they founded Itexico. We have grown pretty rapidly, and now we have more than 70 people, 70 English-speaking professionals, really well-trained professionals in Mexico, and management and business development teams in Austin and the Silicon Valley. We are currently partners with really great companies like Accelerator, with whom we use the Titanium cross-platform development tools, as well as IBM, Microsoft, and Xamarin. And of course, we have some really great clients that support us and trusting us as well, like McDonald's, Accelerator, with whom we have partnerships and work with as well, Honda, Hipages, Nike, and many others. So let's go ahead and quickly let you know about the full app lifecycle services. Our expertise is focused mainly around the mobile application lifecycle. So what it means is that we have experts in each stage of the mobile application development. So we have a team of technical advisors, for example, that will assess and organize the application strategy and architecture. We have a team of really awesome, incredible designers that will focus on user experience and usability. We have a full team of experts in mobile development in both native languages like Objective-C for iOS or Java for Android, as well as we actually have the largest team of Titanium developers outside of Accelerator in California. We have plenty developers specialized in Titanium and Alloy. So of course, no mobile app can be completed if it doesn't have a backend structure to work with. So that's why we have a full team of backend and front-end web developers that create a really solid server-side applications. We also have a really great team of specialized testers and mobile and web testers that will make sure, these guys will make sure that your app is running smoothly without bugs. So we also have people that will take care of deployment, maintenance, and support as a part of a new offering called Mobile App Care, which I'll let you know about in a minute. So let's go ahead with first Etest. Quickly, Etest is what we provide as a part of our Lifecycle Services. The client can basically have, with Etest, you can basically have dedicated resources with flexible skill sets that will quickly adapt to the projects as well as to scale up and down really easily to meet the financial needs of the client and actually accelerate solution development. We can also assign a technical expert or a full team of them to travel to the client's office and work on site for as long as is required by the customer. We're currently doing so with many of our customers in Las Vegas and Boston, Cincinnati, Washington, and many other places in the US. And of course, we have a new offering. We noticed that mobile applications are really in need of maintenance, of upgrading, adding new features. So Mobile App Care is our new offering for customers with existing mobile applications. It provides basically testing, maintenance, enhancements, and support services to our clients for their existing apps. And through Mobile App Care, we can add like new features, support new devices, porting existing applications to different platforms. For example, Android can go to iOS or vice versa through this service. And we can also support different devices. Mobile App Care can provide a single point of contact and peace of mind for customers, knowing that your key mobile solutions are being taken care of and are ready to meet the market needs all the time. So that's basically what we do on Mobile App Care. And at Texaco, as you know, we really like to take care of our clients, our customers. And as a token of appreciation that you attended this webinar, we would like to make this offer available to you. For those who are interested in, we'll give you a 1 to 2 hour free assessment call with one of our technical advisors to diagnose your project and provide you with expert insights. You can pick maybe a mobile development assessment or a web development or a design, user experience design or testing. And you can have a 1 to 2 hour call with an expert. And this is, of course, free of charge, and there is no purchase commitment to it. And for those who actually decide to collaborate with Itexaco, we will also include a complimentary 5 hour of UX UI design for your engagement. This is really especially helpful now that most apps, as you may know, are being updated to look flatter and right, appropriate for the Apple's upcoming iOS 7. They'll be releasing the fall. So if you want to have an application redesigned and made look flatter for the new iOS, we can help you out as well. And okay, so let's go ahead and move into the Q&A session. That's the last part of the webinar. Again, if you want to have more information about the company or you want a free quote, where are your services, just drop us an email at info@itexaco.com or call us at this toll-free number you see on the screen, 855-541-0100. So let's go ahead and start with the first question. Just 1 second. We have here a question that says, can you discuss attrition rates your company experiences and the impact on projects and contrast to India? Let me go ahead and open the mics to our panelists so you can have that question answered. Just a sec. Guillermo, you're on.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very interesting, very important question. The attrition rates here in Mexico are much lower than other locations. We were talking about that later on. I mean, before, early in the conversation, and the teams here tends to be very stable. I will say that that specific situation is not a problem and it's not affecting the actual projects and delivery. And of course, you cannot avoid to have some people leaving the company, but that's going to happen everywhere. But the strategies we can implement to avoid to have any impact in the project are in place. So it's not only a matter of attrition, which is, by the way, low. It's also a matter of having the proper strategy to take the risks down in the project.
Okay, thank you, Guillermo. We also have another question that is that reads, do you have any price or rates range? Do you want to
Yeah,
answer that? Yeah.
sure. I can tell you the rates are in a very competitive range, but it depends a lot. I mean, it could be, it depends on the if the type of engagement is, for instance, an extended team, or do you have time and material, or if you hire some service for a mobile app care, or maybe you're interested more in having a fixed price project, and all those different kind of engagements modify the prices, the rates in a very important way. So I could say that we can go from some points in the low 30s to and up, depending on maybe you need the people or the engineer on site just next to you, so that's also a possibility, and that's the kind of things that will affect the rates we can offer.
Okay, great. Just to let you know, we're going to have these slides available through our website once we're done, and we'll send you also an email with a link so you can download them. And we'll make the recording available on our YouTube channel and as well as our website in the near future. Okay, and we also have as a part of the panelist, we have Anurag Kumar, which is our CEO, as well as Abhijit Pradhan, which is our CTO. So if they want to have want to add any other more to this answer, you can. You're now online. Anu, are you there?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I can talk a few things about attrition and the security. So AP and I, we are originally from India. We've been in the US a long time. And until 3 years ago, we did have an IT services company based out of India. We moved the operation to Mexico, leveraging the nearshore advantages. So I can talk about attrition from direct experience. The attrition rate has been extremely low. We have a loyal set of employees, and that's true typically in Mexico compared to what I had experienced personally with India, with the rapid growth, with the demand from very large outsourcing vendors. Uh, Here in Mexico, and I'm in Austin, but in Mexico, we have many things we are able to do to retain employees. We have in-house training. We train people on mobile development, on Scrum, on culture. There are a lot of travel opportunities to visit and work with clients on site. Uh, and so far, the demand on the Mexico side for IT services is not as high as it is in India, for example. So we are experiencing extremely low attrition rates. Sometimes we have to make some changes based on performance, but overall, the experience for us and for our clients have been very, very positive. We have stable teams, and the teams stay with the project for a long time. Talking about violence, there's a lot of media attention going on. Violence is there in every country, every city, Brazil, India, even in the US. Primarily because of the media and because of proximity, Mexico tends to get a lot of attention. Our experience, we travel there all the time. Our customers go to Mexico, to Guadalajara all the time. As Guillermo pointed out, it's a beautiful city, wonderful weather. And numerically, statistically, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Monterrey is actually safer than Dallas and Houston if you compare the population and all that. There are probably more crime going on in Chicago than in Guadalajara at any point in time on any weekend. Having said that, like in any big city, you have to be careful. You have to watch where you are, and you have to have measures you would take even in a city like Austin, for example. Overall, as Guillermo pointed out, we have customers coming there all the time. They work with us, they work with the teams. We go there all the time. So we haven't experienced anything personally ourselves. And we don't hesitate inviting our customers or going ourselves. Every month, someone from the management team from Austin is in Guadalajara working with the teams. And we are very comfortable stating and saying that security is not something we really worry about. It's part of going to any large city anywhere in the world. And if you don't know the city, you should have someone to take you around, and you should behave appropriately. That's all I have. And again, this is all based on personal experience. Personally, I've been in the US for 31 years, and it's something which I don't personally think about, and I don't worry about, and I tell my customers not to think about it. David, that's
Okay.
my
Thank,
viewpoint.
thank you, Anu. Okay, we have another question. If I have what's the process for starting a new project with you? I'll be the onboarding process. Uh, can any of you, Anu or IP, answer that? Guillermo?
I can address that, having
Okay.
done it so many times. So first, I'll give you a consultant's answer. It depends. It depends what the project is. If it is a brand new team, which we have to put together because of specific project requirements, sometimes it can take a while, a couple of weeks, a month, a little longer to make sure we have the right team available, either from our internal resources or resources we have to get from outside. So that could be one if the team has to be assembled. If you have already done a project with you, with the customer, the ramp-up time for the second project can be relatively fast. We already have experience in your infrastructure, in your technology, in your requirements. And sometimes if the project is complex and we have to take complete responsibility, understanding the requirements, having multiple meetings, documenting our understanding, and then putting the right team could impact time to start the project. So it really depends. A lot of times we have bandwidth to take an existing project because we have some resources coming out of an existing project, and we can rapidly take on a new project with minimum delays. We have had multiple situations where we have received calls on Fridays and we had the team ready to go on Monday after the weekend. Also for on-site, responses again depends upon the resources, internally or otherwise. But we have had situations where we had our developers, our consultants on site in a matter of days. I remember one instance we had a requirement on Thursday, and the consultant was actually on site on Monday. In my experience, when I had teams in India, there was no way we could have responded that rapidly. I don't know if Guillermo mentioned, but for U.S. citizens, you don't need a visa to go to Mexico. It's really like traveling to another city. So we have had customers coming to our office at a moment's notice. There are many non-stop flights from Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Francisco. So traveling to our offices, and that's true with most of the cities in Mexico, is really easy. You don't have to think twice. You don't need any immunization. You don't need any visas. You just pick up your passport and you catch the next flight. We can actually have dinner there tonight if someone is open to it. David, that's it.
Great, Anu. Thank you. We have one more question. Can you discuss cultural compatibility versus India?
Okay, I can take that again.
Okay.
I can't see the questions, David. So sorry. Originally, two of the founders actually from India. We We are US citizens now. So what I'm finding personally is the talent, especially the technical talent, is so aware of what's happening just north of the border that anything new happening in US, they already know, whether it's iOS 7, whether it's some new devices, whether it's new technology, or whether it's something new happening here. You don't have to explain a new phenomena. Also, we are finding that traveling to US, if you are in Mexico for vacation, for family, is really, really common. So we have our developers when they come here, they don't have to be taught how to drive. They don't have to be taught which side of the road to drive on, or getting around or shopping or staying or traveling to the work site. So the level of awareness, I was a little surprised personally, is really high. And on the cultural other side, business culture side, now that we have iTexico there for almost 3 years now, the business culture in Mexico is extremely similar to the business culture in US. The language you speak, the way you operate, the commitments you make, the expectations you set, they're extremely similar, and that has helped us ramp up on projects, and that has helped us on deploying consultants and developers on site or on projects really, really easy. It also reduces the amount of time to understand a specific problem situation. The level of understanding, simple things like watching TV, we find that the cultural similarities are really, really high. And also because of the large population in US with a lot of relatives back and forth, it's really, as I see, as we have experienced, is kind of an extension to US in the South. If it was not for a bit of a language difference, most of us wouldn't know it's a different country. And of course, there are areas where you could, but compared to what my own experience has been with India, you really don't feel like you're in a foreign country when you're working in Mexico. You just feel you're in a different city in US with maybe a little bit different geography and language. David, back to you.
Thank you, Anu. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have. Just to remind you, yes, we will make these slides available to you through email, and we'll make them available on our website as well. So we will send you an email shortly with the slides and as well as the recording when it's available. So if there are no more questions, then I think we'll end it here. Thanks a lot. Thank you again, everyone, for attending to the webinar. Thanks for your time, and we'll keep you updated for next sessions for this series, Accelerating Your Mobile Delivery. So thanks again, and have a great day. Thanks to our panelists. Thank you, Guillermo, Anu, and AP for being here. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.